Global Ministries, Enlightenment and Transformation, Sadulu House, and Osiris Life Spiritual Services. SaduluHouse.com is the school component of our new nation, where spiritual empowerment through education and training is emphasized. One way that is accomplished is through our monthly webinars. Our webinars are packed with foundational information, rituals, and live instruction to empower your spiritual work. At SaduluHouse.com, you can view our diverse list of topics for this year that range from meditation to sex magic. And you can also register for any of the webinars at your convenience, sign up for our introductory Orisha class, schedule a spiritual reading, and sign up for the New Spiritual Training course. Enlightenment and Transformation is the media component of our new nation. Here, you can view all of our archived shows from over the years to our current segments. They include Chief Speaks, Masterminds Monday, A New Asafo, Thunderground Thursdays, and Foundational Fridays. You can also visit us on our YouTube channels. They are Enlightenment and Transformation, Orisha Yoruba, and Our New Nation. Osiris Life Spiritual Services is for those who are ready to take the necessary actions to bring your life into holistic balance. Here we offer consistent monthly one-on-one coaching, solutions that are tailored just for you, practical hands-on self-development techniques that will accompany your monthly readings, and customized practical strategies designed for you that guarantee positive results. Simply choose the package that best fits your needs. And last but not least, AlphaOmegaStore.com. The Alpha Omega Store is our online botanica where we offer divination tools, herbs and incense, DVDs, books, and other hard-to-find ritual items. You can also get our best-selling foundational book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Other great works from our new nation are Shrine and Altar, Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships, and Natural Hair for Young Women. All great books to assist you on your journey. To find out more on how to get involved with our new nation, visit our websites and YouTube channels and be sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter.
purpose and our role. I wanna know the role of my soul in the spirit world. I wanna know the role of my soul in the spirit world. I wanna know the role of my soul in the spirit world. I wanna know the role of my soul in the spirit world.
Yeah, peace, peace. Good dawning, everyone. Good dawning, everyone. Of course, tuning in live on Blog Talk Radio, and of course, all of you tuning in from YouTube and the chat room. Greetings, and of course, those of you in another time zone. I know your day has already began for many of you, so I trust that this Friday, you're moving strong with power and with clarity. This is in Enlightenment and Transformation, and I think I called this show Dawning Devi. As you notice, I've been calling the show something different every day. It's different times of the day. You know, you have different spirits present, different energies present. So, just giving honor to that. But yeah, give thanks. I'm so glad that so many of you are here, and I see that the exchanges in the chat room have already begun, which is always a good thing. We've been covering, I think, some good ground is strong, and the Friday sessions. Oh, by the way, this is Chief Yuya speaking for anyone calling in brand new. I forgot to introduce myself, but I was so much into that just the energy that Navasha Daniels was bringing forth in that piece. But typically on Fridays, I like to just give everyone an opportunity to think about and reflect and ruminate on how they will apply the work that we've been covering and the concepts, over the strong end, or maybe just that day or the next day. Friday is a day of quarreling, as I say often, in one of our indigenous structures, and quarreling is our opportunity to state our point and to share the great swelling of information and emotion that we may have with the world. This is one of the reasons why this is considered often the day of Venus or the day of Osun, or Aphrodite, but because it's that opportunity to share the groundswell, what's been swelling inside of our consciousness, and maybe has even manifested in some of our behaviors that we have not been able to vocally express to the world. So this is our opportunity to share our great mental literature with the masses. So, I always usually try to speak, there's a pattern to the segments, believe it or not. Each day and each time of day, and even each day of the month. And when I mean day of the month, like first Sunday, second Sunday, third Sunday, fourth Sunday, or first Sunday, second Sunday, third Sunday, fourth Sunday, or Friday or Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, I bring something different because the energy ebb and flows throughout the month as well. So, I try to get a projection of the road in front of us for the month, and I speak in that way. And a lot of times it's probably undetectable. It just seems like I'm freestyling. I mean, I am freestyling, but there's an energy that I'm leaning into, depending on the day. So the energy that I like to lean into on Fridays is accountability. Because sometimes we have a little bit of difficulty owning ourselves after the work strong. We apply some of our greatest theories and some of our greatest rudiments for someone else's dream and someone else's vision. Many people throughout that Monday and Friday time frame. So when Saturday and Sunday comes, a lot of times people are just preparing for Monday, just preparing to apply more of their great genius for somebody else's, vision. So it's good a lot of times to have something where you can own yourself for a moment, especially before you go into your workspace, especially on your Saturdays and Sundays, where sometimes you're at a loss for what to do, because once you receive your freedom and you feel that sense of free will, you don't know what to do. You get bored, So for those who may have that issue, on Fridays, I usually try to say, okay, well, these are the things that we talked about this strong, and this is how you can apply it this strong. Just kind of give you something to do, or some strong in homework. It's important. Let me give the calling number. I'm all sloppy with my stuff. I'm getting back into the groove of these live shows and whatnot, and it's been going well. Seems like we're getting a lot of new people coming in, a whole lot of new people coming in, which is always a good thing. People coming into the information, but I got to get my groove back. The call-in number, say my name, all that other stuff like that. But yeah, the call-in number is 515-605-9862. Actually, I think I'm going to make a recording of that, so that way I could just play it in the beginning. I'm not really a master of repetition. So even that, having to say that over and over again, I start to feel like, I don't want to say this again. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna say the number backwards, do something like that, and end up sabotaging the show. But it's interesting, it being Osun's Day and playing that Navasha piece. Of course, Fertile Ground, but that particular cut, or really that whole project. There's a sister on the team who would organize Saturday cleanups, and the shrine, not just the shrine, but the palace as well. And she would always play that piece, but there was a whole ritual that went to it. And what I'm getting at is that a lot of times, sometimes we fall short on the things that we want to do because we don't really understand the fullness of Osun's power sometimes to create a moment and to then reprogram our thoughts and our behaviors so that we begin to branch out towards the visual moment or the emotional moment that she's created for us. You see, so one of the things the sister used to do, she would play certain songs. She was a singer, so she would sing along with that particular cut. And this was every Saturday, ritual. Sing along with the cut, play that particular song. Certain clothes she would wear. She would organize the other family members to the cleanups, and there would be certain scents. I would always smell the scent of frankincense oil, frankincense, Florida water, sage, and a couple other little, witchy things she had thrown in there. But the thing is, now, whenever I smell like frankincense oil or I hear that particular cut, I'm taken to that moment, of moving around on Saturdays, especially because I used to teach in-person classes on Saturday, coming out of the shrine or going into the shrine with clients, and everything being nice and shiny and smelling good, and the candles burning nice and still, because the sister went in and did her thing and evened out the energy and got the psychology of all of the spirits that live in my shrine, got them all feeling good, and and I'd come in and the candles would already be lit, and and they would just be nice and clean and burning smooth, no problems, you see. And one of the things I always knew, or I should say always know, about this sister is that she knows how to create a moment to reinforce her position. in many senses. So the wisdom of that Oshun energy, she knows anytime you smell sage or frankincense or you hear this music, you're going to think of me. You see, and it creates a reality now where you're always going to want to draw near, because your mind just does that automatically. The way your mind works is that, like I said, sometimes, or I speak about sometimes, the suspension of disbelief, or even like when I did the segment on laughing yoga, the mind doesn't really know the difference a lot of times between when you're imagining something and you're experiencing it in your conscious life or your waking life. So what happens if you imagine something consistently enough, what the mind does is it wants to follow through in each dimensional representation. So if you have something constantly working in your mind, eventually what your mind does is it starts to project the type of thoughts and subconscious behaviors that will bring about that in reality. So a lot of times we look at it, we say, oh, that's the law of attraction, which I think I've said in one of my books. I said Oshun is the law of attraction, but it's not just what the things you think about the most are the things that you attract into your life. It's not just that per se. It's not just that magnetic aspect, but it's really it's diffusing your consciousness, and you can diffuse your consciousness for a moment, put it into that space of your imagination, and then what happens is, on a subconscious level, once that becomes the real thing, you subconsciously start doing things that will bring that about. So, for instance, if you're always thinking about, let's say if you had a rumination, or you imagined all the time that I have a $2 million yacht, and I need to find a place to store it for the winter. But let's say you don't have a $2 million yacht, but you create that reality in your imagination. And of course, you include all of the somatic experiences that would go along with that. The smell of the water, of the seawater, the sound, just what you would be wearing, the wind. You go through all of the different experiences. Maybe these are the snacks that I would bring on board, but I have an issue. I need a place to store my $2 million yacht. Now, you may be driving around in a $4,000 car, and that may be the end of it. But you implant that in your imagination enough, and you include enough somatic stimulation and inference around that particular challenge, and the mind, what it does is it automatically wants to balance out what you create as a challenge in your mind, or what you create as a challenge in front of it. It has a notable mechanisms inside of it that will reinforce the dimensional expression or dimensional projection of what it sees to be the solution. So it will create the solution in an unseen place, and then it will project further outwards into your waking life. So you'll start to do things even with your money without even knowing what to do with your money. You'll maybe get into investments, or you'll notice you have your subliminal perception, but now all of a sudden you'll notice certain things. You'll walk by a house and say, wow, this house has been empty for a long time. I wonder if it's for sale. Maybe I can flip this or turn it into a rental property. You'll start doing all of these little different things because your mind is trying to make a connection between what happens in your waking life and what you've imagined. And it automatically does that. It automatically reaches out from what has been imagined to what needs to be realized. And you don't have to do a whole lot, but you just have to go along with the flow of that. You see? So it's very interesting. Again, I'm thoroughly programmed. Whenever I hear that particular song or anything off of that particular project, I go back to that thinking of a clean shrine, the house is clean, and there was several other things that went along with that, food and all, but the youth are in their place, we're doing what they're supposed to do. This is Saturday. I go back to Saturday wherever I hear that, and a bunch of sisters dancing and singing and just enjoying each other, cracking jokes, cleaning, and putting things in order, handling that domestic management so well. But that was all the witchery of an Osun sister sitting in the background and saying, I know how sensitive this man is to smells. So I'm going to start with the smells. Start with the saging, end with the saging, have the oils going, my essential oils, this, that, and that, because it puts him in a certain space. You see, that's what Osun does. She's the master of illusion like that, but she utilizes the illusion for us to make those neuronic connections between what it is that we're imagining and aspiring and hankering for and what we're actually living. And one of the greatest ways to do that is to create a challenge in your mind. A lot of times, like I said, when we just look at basically the law of attraction, we say, okay, I'm just going to think about having money. And eventually, if I keep my mind positively reinforced with the image of me having money or me living a life of abundance, then I'm going to have money and live a life of abundance. And that works a little bit, but it doesn't work that great. Your mind is much more powerful. That you have so much more of your mind that you can access than that. So when you create a situation mentally where you create a challenge, not a problem, but a situation, a mental situation or a mental challenge, no different than when you're going through something and you do your affirmations and your rituals and you say, you know what, because I did my affirmations and my rituals and my spiritual work, I know that it's going to be okay. It's going to work out. And you begin to encounter individuals or situations that represent a solution to whatever it is that you're going through. It's a similar exercise. Well, you can do the same thing by creating a false issue. You can create a false challenge within your psyche. And by creating that false challenge, your psyche has automated problem solving mechanisms within it. It will begin to meet the solution of that challenge. So like I said, your problem, or I don't even want to use problem, but your situation or your challenge that you can put in front of you is, I need to find a place to store all of my cars. I have the Bentley, I have the Rolls, I have the Aston Martin, and it's just there's too many for my driveway. And you just imagine that issue. And you go through the full somatic experience, as opposed to just saying, I'm driving down the highway in an Aston Martin, or I'm pulling up in a Bentley, or I'm pulling out of my driveway in a Rolls Royce. You could do that, but it doesn't work as well as opposed to when you create that challenge, And the one who actually governs the energy of really bringing that challenge to be is that Osun vibration. That's one of her, because Osun is complex, man. She's usually the one I use as an example when I speak about, sometimes we create this cartoon image of the energies that we have, in terms of our pantheons. And, we look at Osun and say, oh, she's all about love and sweetness, and she sits in front of the mirror, and, and sometimes we keep it right there, and mentally we terminate what the full expression, because remember, when you're talking about these energies, you're talking about subconscious projections. So we terminate the fullness of what that projection can be by doing that. But there's so much more sitting in there. There's so much more in terms of tools and formulas. Remember, you're functioning when you're working with these particular energies. You're working with variable formulas, and those formulas can be added and combined together in multiple ways to create multiple outcomes. But if you have terminating behaviors or terminating mentality where you put a ceiling on everything and you shut down all of the possibilities of all of the energies to their most minimalist effort, then that's what you're going to live, because that's what you're actually asking for. So yeah, it's real significant to learn the deepness of the formulas of those particular energies, and that's something that you all can work on very easily. And like I said, it's about really the diffusion. It's about the diffusion of your consciousness. I think it was maybe, man, I'm blurring. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, I don't know, but maybe Monday or Tuesday, I spoke about the value of being a lover. Monday, Tuesday, I don't know. I don't remember what day. I'm probably off. It might have been last strong. But, I spoke about the significance of moving from an I consciousness to a we consciousness, which really creates the greatest values, or the greatest value of loving. And a lot of times we lose it because we do have a built-in and natural self-centeredness. And that's not necessarily problematic. We have a natural self-centeredness that's built in, and sometimes it's very difficult for us to move beyond that and see our creator nature. The creator nature, in essence, what it does is it takes that self-centeredness, and which is a healthy thing. There's nothing wrong with it. It takes it and it moves it around. Now, we call this love a lot of times. And you know what? Before I go on. Good dawning, Sister Bello. Good dawning, Omega. Good dawning, Keith. Good dawning, Madeline. Good dawning, Feast or Face. If I said that wrong, please give me the phonetic spelling. Good dawning, Brother Haru. Good dawning, strong mind, strong body, fitness. Good dawning, Justin. Good dawning, Designs Not Defined. Good dawning, Barbara Curry. Good dawning, Nahum. Good dawning, Vivid Eye Publications. Good dawning, Darcy. Good dawning, Sister Marva. Good dawning, Sister Taisha. Good dawning, Sister Keisha. Good dawning, Sister Divine. Good dawning, 88 Tonio 88. Good dawning, Sister Nyambi. If I missed anybody, please excuse me. I might have my vision might have failed me. But good dawning to all of you. Welcome, and good dawning, especially those of you who got here early. And I know there's a lot of you who are not in the chat room who are listening. I see the numbers. So good dawning again to all of you. I know a lot of times people pile in a little bit later, but welcome. Fase. Thank you so much for that. Fase. Good dawning, Fase. If I said that correct, hopefully I got that one right. Fase. Actually, I'm going to write that down. I got a thing for names. Fase. So I want to remember that one. I have not seen that one, so I want to remember it. But, yeah, so, moving forward, and what we were speaking about, that ability to shift your own natural self-centeredness and kind of inject your center inside of another person. That's really the essence of loving. That's just the essence of friendship. It's a very benevolent act that one can go through, or one can achieve. It's the shifting of your consciousness and putting the self-centeredness and the primary survival concern that you have about yourself. You could place that inside someone else. Because the truth is, any authentic love that we're going to experience. Oh man, I'm laughing because and she might tune in, or she might be, I don't know if she's listening, but someone said to me yesterday during a session, they were like, Chief, you really, really care. And I'm just laughing. There was more things that were said, but she kept saying that she was like, I realized during watching you that I don't care as much as you do about people. I do care about them, but you really, really care. You really, really, give a lot. And I said, you know what? I commend you for observing that, not in me, but observing that in you. because there's a lot of people who jump out here to do certain things in terms of this work, and they haven't done that gut check yet. And maybe because they haven't really experienced or witnessed someone who actually does, like, she was saying, you actually do really live what you're saying you live. Yeah, of course, but maybe they've never seen that. So they jump out here with this idea of great love and concern and care that they have for the populace. And once they get involved in it in a quiet way, they realize I don't really have that. I don't really care that much. I don't really care to go through the trials and tribulations that people will put me through. And like I said, I commended her for that, because I said, I'm glad that you worked that out now, because it doesn't mean, and what I said to her, and I will say to you all as well, I said it doesn't mean that you're not still going to help people, or you might even, still not make it your mission to help people, but you'll probably shape the rules of engagement, and you'll have a better sense of your own personal boundaries and learn a more ingenious and brilliant application of the sciences that you have inside of you, that the thoughts and the powers that you have inside of you that can expressively help people. So understanding those boundaries early on is important, because like I told her, I said, you know what? And going into it and not knowing that, the people will make you want to quit and never even look at culture or consciousness ever again, because there's so many pain associations, neural pain associations that can be associated with helping and doing things. So when you come to that place where you realize, nah, I don't want to go through all of that, I told her, don't even feel bad about that. That's a great place to be, because there's an ebb and flow. And even I have my limits, but there's an ebb and flow of sometimes you stay on the front lines for a while. Sometimes you pull back. Like I always say, people who stay on the front lines for too long, they go insane. You need that opportunity to pull back. A soldier on the front lines for too long, you either get killed or you go crazy. So there's an ebb and flow to things, but we don't all have to have the same level of dedication, because like I expressed to her, is that if you're in tune and sensitive to your own self-preservation, then you'll end up helping anyway. Because if you want to have children, or you have children, or you just care something about your family name and your family legacy, then you'll recognize what's needed in a collective and external sense to further that name or further that legacy, to be able to birth your children into something of power, to give them something when you're moving forward, when you're coming up with business ideas or coming up with ways that you want to help the community, thinking as well, okay, how can my progeny, how can, the generations after me benefit from what it is that I'm doing? How does this maintain and sustain my family name? How does this really create an acceptable and divine and reinforcing inheritance for my children? And then sometimes you gotta improve your self-awareness around even that. Well, how much do I care about them? Good morning, Sister Allison, as well as L. So from the Bahamas, at Caro. Sometimes you have to even put some thoughts surrounding that, but having that gut check, and it's a quiet thing. You don't have to put a posting up on social media to let everyone know how little you care or how much you care. Sometimes it's a quiet thing where you quietly sit inside of yourself. You sit in your own seat of power, and you think about maybe some of the anxiety or the depression or the high level desirability that is connected and linked to the idea of you helping your community or you helping others. And you'll get a better sense of where your boundaries and your limits begin to occur, begin to form. And you get a better sense of what hoops you're willing to jump through and which ones you're not. So I say that to all of you. Like I said, she brought that up yesterday. just in witnessing some of the things that I experience in my work, but we're all built different. But the bottom line is this: you don't have to be a priest or a priestess to want to survive or to want to thrive. That's just good sense. If you know that on a regular basis, you're eating things that are destroying you, but not in a good way, that are harming you, or your children are learning things that are harming them, or you're living in an environment that's not safe. You could go down the list. It's just good sense that your survival mechanism kicks in, and you say, okay, well, let me do this, that, and that, so that we can live. You see, and you don't have to be initiated to do that. You don't have to have divine moments where ancient wisdom is drilled into you, or you speed up your progress tremendously in terms of you're growing and you're learning in order to do something. We all have something. We all come with something. We all have natural abilities, and we all have certain natural and innate responses that predominate the rest of us, and that gives you an idea of what some of your gifts are. Some of them are things that you may not think of. It could be the way you responded, the way you see things, the way you read things, the way you say things. There's so many different things, and you don't have to give the whole of yourself to help a community. A chief does, and that gives you an idea of maybe where the standard is, and then to where to back down from there. Well, I don't want to be a chief, so I'm not going to give all of that. I'll give maybe 20%. I'll give maybe 10%, 5%, 15%, of what it is that I am, or what it is that I can bring, So I just say that for those of you who may be sitting in the background feeling intimidated, like, man, I don't really want to be a priest or have to deal with people, that much. People annoy me, and this or that. You may have some of those feelings, but trust me, do you want to thrive? That's really the question. If you do, then there's certain things that you got to do. And everyone who's within a community and is community conscious, these are things that just become almost inbred into them. When you look at communities that are thriving, they don't thrive because every single individual and member of that community is brilliant, or has this great divine aspiration and aspect about them where they invigorate, the most highest ideas of themselves, and they relax the lowest ideas. It's not because of that. There's a very base level culture that's shared and that's generated amongst everyone, and that allows for those communities to thrive like that. And that's for a lot of us. That's all we're talking about. That's the ultimate goal, is to have a base level of culture that allows us to achieve our goals. That's all. But there has to be somebody who says, well, listen, that's all I'm going to think about. That's all I'm going to do. Maybe all of you can't run off the plantation right now. Maybe that's not an option for everyone right now. I mean, it potentially needs to be it, and everyone has the capability to potentially do that, and to eliminate the time-consuming activities from their lives that, again, only fuel other people's dreams, but don't really allow you to perform at your level, and you notice you might be constantly losing ground on the things that you want to do. But everyone can't do that right now. Eventually, everyone will, because again, the capability is there. So you're always going to need those frontliners. You're going to need those people who are purists and are completely devoted to the ideas of certain things, and saying, well, listen, this is all I do. This is all I do. But it doesn't mean that there aren't things that you can do. It doesn't mean that because you can't give your all, that you have no place in community building or in some of the intermittent reinforcement that's necessary to keep things going. Everyone can't be as consistent. So, I just wanted to add that in there for anyone who may have been feeling a similar feeling. But, again, You may have intermittent moments where you transfer your consciousness, and you perform certain self-transcending acts, because that's what transcendence truly is. It's that ability to transcend the self, and for a moment allow your consciousness or your self-centered or your self-direction and self-ambition to exist and live within something or someone else, to reinvigorate it. We do that when we give things our attention, even if it's things we don't want to give our attention. A lot of times we don't realize we get so mesmerized by those things or so sucked in, we actually shift the whole of our consciousness into those particular people or into those particular experiences. And then we try to make it back into our own body. Sometimes we don't make it back, or sometimes not all of us makes it back, you see. But that is the essence of friendship. That is the essence of love. When you can be self-transcending and you can take your consciousness and give it to someone else. So for me, I am totally enslaved and shackled to the vision and the imagination that I've had of what I knew fully is in its totality. I am a slave to it. I'm a slave to my purpose, you see. So I have already transcended self and deposited the fullness of my consciousness into that baby. That's what it is. It's a vision baby. You see, so that's why even sometimes when people say things like, well, Chief, I know you feel this way. I know you feel that way. No one knows how I feel. No one knows. You don't know me. You think you know me, but you don't know me. You only know my perspective. Just like if you see me with my youth, you're seeing an aspect of me that's necessary in the presence of my youth. Whether it be the protector, whether it be the teacher, or whatever, probably more protector than anything else, right? But that's what I have to be as a response to that moment, you see. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the fullness of what I am. I'm responding to the moment, and I'm willing not to project what I am. See, that that's a sacrifice. Sacrificing self. You see, I'm sacrificing myself in order to transcend self, and inject myself into the consciousness of what it is that I'm designing I'm building, which is an act again of self-diffusion. Now, if you really look at it in terms of how we mature and develop as people, and we start to experience opportunities of opening ourselves up or giving ourselves to another in a form of, we could kind of say like self-forgetting. Yeah, that's the term I use. Self-forgetting. So there's like a self-forgetting love that occurs, where you deny yourself, you forget yourself, in order to open yourself up and to receive, because that divine reception becomes an opportunity to perfect. But when you're able to say, okay, I'm going to shift myself and put it into this container or put it into this vision, then essentially, what are you behaving as in that moment? Go through any of your ancient works, your ancient scriptures. You realize that you're behaving as the Supreme Being. Because essentially, what does the Supreme Being do voluntarily? In order to perfect itself, it diffuses itself and puts its consciousness into something else. So the self-centered behavior that it would have, it takes the I and says, you know what? The concern and the directed behavior that I have towards myself, I'm going to put that in you. I'm going to give you that. So I'm going to give you my concern that I have for myself. I'm going to transcend self and give that. And in doing that, I'm going to create in you my mind. I'm going to give you an opportunity for greater perfection. And I do that by imperfecting myself. Anytime you receive something in life, you're becoming less than perfect. Anytime you receive, reception is an act of imperfection. This is why your dark energy, when we talk about the dark energy, or we talk about the light energy, or we look at the Oriopon, and we look at the Osun region, and we look at the Osi region, one representing fire, the other representing water. And we always look at, fire, we say, yeah, fire is the purifier. You got to go through the fire, to be fine and to be shiny, like shiny brass or shiny gold. Go through the fire. Sometimes we forget, well, let's look at the converse of that. The water would be what we go through to corrupt ourselves. The water is what we go through to become imperfected. Even when you look in water and you put something in it, it becomes blurry. It goes out of focus. You see, water is where consciousness is stored, and it is given back out again. So the act of actually receiving and opening yourself up and then shifting your consciousness, because you move yourself out of the way, you move your consciousness out of the way. Sometimes you even have to move your ego out of the way. Easing God out. Ego. Well, where does God get placed? Into something else. That's an act of imperfection. So that's a sacrifice you have. That's a sacrifice you go through. Like, some of you may have experienced this before, sometimes even as children, right? Like, okay, I was out not too long ago, right? And I was, I think we were picking up some spiritual supplies for some work I was doing. I had one of my youth with me, and I was drinking this chia seed drink, and he was like, Baba, can I get some? And I looked at the side of it, and I was like, yo, it says 1 serving. So if I give you some, I'm not going to get my full serving of it. So no. And he was like, what? Come on, I can't. I'm thirsty. I'm like, yo, yeah, you should have, should have got something when we were there, man. I told you, you were trying to be fly. So I'm not going to mess up my serving to give it to you. If I give you some of my serving, and I showed him the label, I said, look at all these vitamins and minerals. I'm not going to get all these vitamins and minerals if I give you some of my serving. So nah, you're dead in the water on that one, buddy. So sometimes, and I was I wasn't messing with him. I actually didn't give him any. But sometimes we go through that as people, where we look at someone and they have the fullness of what it, like, let's say, they have the fullness of what they're supposed to get, and we ask them to share with us. And selfishly, they're unwilling to remove their attention from whatever it is that they have to help us out. They say, no. What I have here is perfect, and if I give you some of it, then my arrangement, you'll eradicate the perfectedness of my arrangement, or what it is that I have. But see, some people don't understand that this whole walk through this life is about corruption. It's about removing that perfectedness, becoming an imperfect, because everything here is transitory anyway. So what you stack up and try to hold, even the consciousness and the self-centered mentality that you try to hold on to and maintain in trying to keep yourself perfect, will keep you stagnated and dead. You came here to become imperfect. Okay, so sometimes even when you think about, I want to share, I want to give, but I don't have enough to share. I don't have enough to give. I'm going to be honest with you. The more you empty out, the more imperfect you become. The more imperfect you become, the more opportunity for perfecting that you invite into your life. This journey is not about becoming perfect. It's about perfecting, going through the cyclical process of perfecting. Perfection comes way later. Way later. Nothing's perfect here. So even the fullness of what you think you have in its crystallization is only really truly an illusion of perfection. It's only truly an illusion of, because to be perfect just means to be complete. coming from the French parfait. It just means complete. That's all. Nothing here is truly complete. Even the teachings that I'm giving you are not complete. Even all of the indigenous systems that I cite up and say, well, this one, that one, they're incomplete, which is a good thing. When you go through our new spiritual training, a lot of you have talked about the North Node, South Node exercise. Well, which one is this one? Which one is Gemini? This one is this. He left some of the information out. Absolutely. You darn right I did. I left holes in the spiritual training on purpose. That was purposeful. Because what does it allow you to do? To go out and find the information, to see if you're really about being a student, to see if you're really about applying effective fixes, if you're really you're willing to take this thing heads on. But it also, those holes allow room for continued perfecting of the entire experience. Continued perfecting. You see. Now, some take the opportunity to quit while they're ahead. They don't realize they're ahead. Oh, I don't see this here, so I'm going to wait, or I'm going to stop, or I'm going to this. You know, Imperfection is a great value in imperfection. Great value. Look at the way we wear our clothes. You know, look at that sometimes. You know, the way we speak, the way we purposely use colloquialisms. We downgrade our speech at times purposely. There's a certain enjoyment in it. There's a certain flow about it. You see. The shifting of our consciousness into new spaces is what imperfects us. So when the Most High, Olodumare, breathed the breath of life, Emi, into you, Olodumare became less than perfect in that moment because it negated itself in order to give you its feeling or its notion of natural self-centeredness and survival. That was a transcending act of friendship or love. You see? Try that this strong in. Try to transcend yourself. Take the fullness of your consciousness and implant it elsewhere. Just try it. It may be a person you're speaking to and explaining something to. You know, it may be a bottle of water. It may be a case of water that you then take to someone. Maybe you know someone who's running a daycare or something like that. And hey, could y'all, use some water? And then you probably use some bottle. Here you go. I want to give this donation. You know, that's why you accept things from witches. You know. You never know what they did to it. You know. That has been our segment. All right. I'll be back this Sunday. All right. For Chief Speaks, 11 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern, digging into more. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Not this Sunday. This Sunday is the open student panel. Excuse me. So I invite you all to call in for that and to be a part of the open student panel. If you're not a member of our new spiritual training, join sedulahouse.com. Okay, we're going into archives too, by the way. 90 seconds. I knew it was coming. You may have noticed, those of you who utilize the Sedula House website, that there's been some pronounced changes. Like I told you about, I almost said warned you, but doing some major upgrades to that site to make it more interactive. You can do so much more now with it. You can talk to each other, message each other, befriend each other. There's more information.
60 seconds.
60 seconds. There's more information coming on the actual individual courses as well. So I'm in the process of embellishing the Anu Spiritual Training course and creating, or kind of scrapping and redoing over the Free Orisha course as well. So a lot of this I wanted to do around the solstice. It was a part of the solstice plan to give sedulahouse.com a facelift, and it was an offering to the school itself, to kind of really bump it up, kick it up a notch, kick it up in level. All right. So, make sure you head over there and enjoy some of the new things that you could do. And any issues that you may have, just let us know if there's any problems or whatever. Because, 10 seconds. Because, when you introduce a lot of times new software in a complex environment, digital environment like that, sometimes things go haywire. It's like when you get things fixed on your car sometimes. You get one thing fixed, it blows out another thing. And you blaming a mechanic thinking that they broke something, but sometimes it's just how it is. We learn to compensate a lot of times for our weaknesses. We become stronger in certain areas, and then when they get fixed, what's compensating now, gets to exhale, woof, and it goes out on us sometimes. All right. Well, that has been our segment. Again, like I said, if you're not a student, join up. And this Sunday, definitely call in. Don't just sit back and listen to everybody work. Don't just sit back and listen. Share your experiences, share your thoughts, share your ideas. And if you don't want to share your spirits, thoughts, and ideas, I guess that's cool too. But it's not cool, but I guess that's okay. It just lets us know where we're gonna place you in heaven. No, I'm playing. But yeah, share. It's not just about Charles and Zach and Ty and Kim and Michelle and Anwar sharing their experiences. They are not the counsel of our new spiritual training. It's about all of you sharing, and giving them support. Giving him some strength for what it is that he wants to do. All right. But with that, I'm going to close out. All right. And I will see you all very soon. Peace.